Hi, good afternoon. Deneen Borelli here with Conservative Review, and I'm here to update you on today's press briefing with Sean Spicer from the White House. And Spicer led off today's briefing by announcing the new National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. Spicer also stressed that McMaster will get to pick his full staff and design his own structure. Today's press briefing went for about an hour or so. One of the main focuses of the press briefing as it went on during the event is that there was a focus on immigration. Immigration was a question that came up numerous times. And Sean Spicer mentioned that there are two executive orders to address national security or domestic security. So one would be to strengthen border security. That is something that he has stressed during the press conference by hiring more ICE agents. The number was 10,000 agents. And again, this is for border security and to make sure there is progress on the wall, which was one of Donald Trump's signature campaign issues, more progress on building the wall. The other dynamic of the executive orders is that to address deportation of illegal aliens, especially those with criminal backgrounds. Sean Spicer stressed that numerous times, those with criminal backgrounds in an effort for national security for our country, those who are causing a national security threat for our country. And so these groups are the first priority when it comes to the executive actions. And this is not a small matter, Spicer stressed. It's not a small matter since it's estimated that there are over 1 million illegal criminal aliens in the United States. And so this is the first priority to focus on this group of individuals. Spicer also noted that the fact sheets on these executive orders are at the Department of Homeland Security. Also, there will be another executive order to address the travel ban initiative, the travel from foreign countries. So Spicer mentioned this as a dual system, a two-pronged system with the executive orders. And so the first executive order will be to defend in the courts, to defend it in the courts. And the new executive order will address concerns raised by the courts and to fill the gap until the previous executive order is advanced. So a two-pronged effort, if you will. Sean Spicer also mentioned that President Trump toured the Black American Museum today, and he toured the museum with Dr. Ben Carson and other individuals. And the response from President Trump through Sean Spicer was that he was very impressed with the museum. He noted the exhibits of Harriet Tubman, the exhibit of the black military individuals that were displayed at the exhibit. And he also mentioned boxer Muhammad Ali, how he was very impressed with his exhibit, just to name a few. And President Trump also said that he looks forward to going back to the museum to tour it again because there's just so much to see there and so much to take in. Regarding manufacturing and jobs, Sean Spicer mentioned that there would be manufacturing CEOs meeting this Thursday with the president. And they will be talking about ways to create jobs and talking about the barriers of entry when it comes to job creation, such as high taxes, for example. And so there's also a need for more worker job training for workers. So these are the things that will come up in this discussion, which will take place on Thursday with the president, with manufacturers and the CEOs from the manufacturing industry. He also touched on Vice President Mike Pence's travel to the EU. And he just returned from that trip. He was there over the weekend. The Vice President will be meeting with President Trump tonight to discuss what happened on the trip over dinner. And the focus was also with Vice President Pence Sean Spicer mentioned there was a focus on NATO, which was something that came up while he was overseas, and that how Pence encouraged members to keep their promises, members in NATO to keep their promises for their member countries to fund their respective military at 2% of GDP. So again, Vice President Pence will be meeting with President Trump tonight to discuss his trip. There were also questions that came up regarding trade for Sean Spicer today. And one comment that Spicer made to really encapsulate the response to the trade question is that we will review all trade deals everywhere. So that was Spicer's response to the question about trade. And there were several follow-up questions to that as well. There was also a question from a media reporter in regards to President Trump's comment when he said, "The media is the enemy of Americans." Well, Sean Spicer noted that there are some media outlets that don't cover the press accurately when it comes to President Trump. So he made that comment, and he also criticized the media for jumping to conclusions. So there were several follow-up questions to that as well, but overall, how the media does not report on President Trump as accurately as they should, and that the media tends to jump to conclusion, some media outlets. And there were also several questions in regards to anti-Semitic attacks and threats against Jewish centers across the country. And Sean Spicer responds to that question. There were numerous questions in regards to these anti-Semitic attacks that are taking place. He said the president called such attacks horrible, and he denounced these attacks. And he also said the president has made it clear that he seeks to unite all Americans. So that was Sean Spicer's response to that question. And also, as on another note, President Donald Trump is scheduled to speak at CPAC this Friday morning at 10 a.m. to make some remarks. And so that is the overall message of what happened today at today's press briefing with Sean Spicer. I am Deneen Borelli with Conservative Review.